want to raise kind, happy, empowered children who are confident in who they are and not in who they are told to be? I do, and I know that you do too. My special guest, Lauren Magers from The Happy Life, shares how you can raise capable, confident children. You're listening to the Renewed Mama podcast. I'm Kimberly Mutar, and I help mamas like you stay renewed. Renewed in your thoughts that are on repeat when you wash dishes or fold laundry. Renewed in the words you say to yourself and to your children when it's the best day ever, and when it spirals into chaos and temper tantrums. Renewed in how you respond so that you keep showing up as the mama you want to be. My special guest today is Lauren Magers, a mom of 4. We all know that there is no guidebook to raising children. Motherhood in Lauren's early 20s felt like diving in uncharted waters. Her question was, how can I raise strong, empowered, resilient children? With her "there's always a way" mindset, she went on a quest for tools, skills, and foundations to be a happy parent. The result was the Happy Life system that empowers parents and children from the inside out. It's not just a parenting method. It's a fresh perspective on family life, creating joy, developing character and resilience, and building self-mastery together. She is here to share more about the Happy Life system. Did you know that the Renewed Mama podcast is on YouTube and Rumble? If you like to watch video podcasts while you wash dishes or fold laundry, join me there. Hey, welcome, Lauren, to the Renewed Mama podcast.
Oh, it's so beautiful to be here, and all the listeners too. I just want to give so much grace and gratitude for, Kimberly holding space for all of us on this journey of parenthood. And I'm just so grateful and honored that you have me on today.
Yes. Well, let's dive right in. When we birthed or you adopted your first child, right?
Yeah, the first 2.
Okay, so they didn't come with a how-to manual. I remember thinking, what am I going to do with this little baby? What does she need? Why is she crying? You have the mindset that there are no problems, only challenges. I love that. I like to say that there's a solution here. We get to figure this out. So we want to hear how you took that mindset of there are no problems, only challenges, and use that to help you to win at parenting.
Wow. I think it's so crazy that we have these amazing human beings in our body, right? That are growing and evolving, and we're kind of on our own journey. Like, I remember for me, I was green juicing all the time and, my remedies. And I'm thinking, oh my God, there's this human that's growing inside of me, right? Then you go have this baby and you leave the hospital and they're like, okay, bye. Or you leave, I wanted to do an at-home birth, right? I didn't get an opportunity to do that or whatever. So now this human is in the ether, right? And it always dawned on me where I'm like, there is no book that prepares you for this experience, right?
Right.
You can read what to expect when you're expecting. You could do all of these things, but until you actually have this physical human, right, in your hands, you will learn. My whole life is I am one of the most positive people because I believe our energy is our greatest currency. And it's in the way that we frame our experience in life that creates the outcome of our reality. So our language, when we start with our language and the way that we speak about ourselves and about our reality, is literally what will up level your vibration and energy. So having a child, I remember saying, there's no challenges here. I will find a solution to this because I am equipped. I could do this. And I always would pump myself up in a way where I wouldn't fall victim to the circumstance. And it was the way that I was framing my mindset that actually allowed me to discover different solutions within that experience. So this language too, motherhood was one thing, but in my career, I created, a pyramid of success for our organization. And it was really, we don't come with problems. We come with challenges and there are opportunities for us to find solutions. And so
Mm-hmm.
my entire system, the Happy Life system, is built with a framework and a language from an NLP standpoint, where we're encoding these positive vibrations in the way that we speak to our kids and to ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, we are all about checking in with what we're thinking and saying on repeat over and over again on the
Yes.
Renewed Mama podcast. So I totally resonate with that. And we can really be so closed-minded or like tunnel vision when we are allowing ourselves to fall into the circumstance or the situation rather than focusing on what we are thinking and saying and that there is the solution here. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, and I can take that one step further is we need to interrupt the program.
Mm,
And when we start to interrupt the program and teach ourselves, and our kids a
mm-hmm,
new way of reframing the experience, that's when you see change. But it's
mm,
up to us to interrupt the program and to go, nope, that's not in service to me in the highest and greatest good of where I want to go.
mm-hmm.
So it's all starts with our awareness and then we can take action.
Yes, yes, I love that. I know that you are super intentional with everything in your life. I'm learning the same thing to be really intentional, like we're just mentioning with our thoughts, the words we're saying, but all of it, like the foods I eat, the sleep I get, what I read and watch. And I know that to be true about you too. I've heard you say that everything that we do needs to bring value into our life so that we work and parent at our best. So I'm kind of
Mm.
asking this question because I want to know, but I'm sure my listeners want to know too. What led you this journey to be really intentional? What does that look like for you daily in your life? Like, what are you choosing to do and not do so that you do work and parent and live happy?
So everything, my intentionality, my journey of intentionality really started with self-love. When I learned how to love myself as an individual, as a mother, as a businesswoman, as an entrepreneur, and really see myself for who I was authentically,
Mm-hmm.
that's when I started to show up and be so intentional with what I let into my field. And so, I grew up in a paradigm of, it was what you did and not who you were. So I
Mm,
was constantly looking for external things to fulfill my happiness. And what I found to be true is happiness can't be bought, right?
mm.
Happiness is an inward journey. And when we are intentional in the way that we think, in the way that we move, in the choices we make, whether that's our food, whether it's the things that we buy, life opens up for you. And I say that in a way because you're bringing a different integrity to your life. You're bringing a different awareness into your life. And that might be as simple as a relationship. Maybe
Mm.
there's a relationship, with your family, with your, whatever that's not in service to your highest and greatest good. And you continue to pursue that relationship. So once I started to love myself, I started to realize there's multiple things that I'm giving my energy to that are not in service and benefiting me and making me feel positive nor happy. And those were boundaries that I started to create. And so everything, I mean, we're traveling right now, but like everything from my bathroom is like, every single thing has intention. I take a second to stop and I ask myself this simple question, which does this bring value into your life? And I teach my children that as well. And that's in my happy method, which is the what, how, and the why of my happy life system. What is it? How do you do it? And why do you do it? When a human has control of the why, right? Creates a reward loop. They have a deeper understanding of why they do the very things that they do. So if you're drinking soda, asking yourself, does this Coca-Cola bring me value? Or why am I actually doing this?
Mhm.
It's getting deeper into that awareness that will then create the intentionality around your experiences that I believe, and I've been living it, that will up level your life experience when you start to bring that much intention into everything you do.
You touched on how you grew up with a paradigm of what you did was more important than who you are. And I would love to talk about that because you really care about having positive role models and empowering children to see the beauty in who they are as a person. And sometimes as parents, as adults, as teachers, we focus more on what our children are doing or not doing rather than who they really are. I want to talk about how we can kind of mislead children if we push them to be or only speak into them what we want them to be and not really opening up who they are as a person, who they can grow to be.
Okay, there's so much there. So I'm going to take this. I'm just going to be very real with you because that's my gift is I'm super authentic in how, what my journey is. If we are embedding programs into our children of what we want them to be, they will never be able to access their greatness. I just want to say that again. If you are embedding or living vicariously through your child with your own agenda for what you think they need to do, they will never be able to access their greatness. My greatest gift as a role model is to define a path for them to unlock their greatness. And that starts with self-belief. When a child believes in their own abilities, when they have their own voice, when they're seen and heard, when they're able to be in tune with their emotions and their social emotional intelligence, they up-level their life. And I firmly believe in society today, we're inhibiting children because we minimize children to think that just because they're this age, just because they're this person, that they need this. Raising a capable individual starts with first a role model that believes in them first. So my life hinged on what I did as an athlete, as a full ride soccer scholarship, what I did in business, who I married, all these things. I had everything on paper, Kim, everything, right? The newspaper articles, the Inc. 5000 company, all this, but I was empty. And the reason why is because I didn't actually have a relationship with myself. I was always told, I need to get good grades. I need to do this. I need to do that. It was everyone else's agenda for my life. But what did the actual little Lauren want? That was never established. And so as parents, like empowering a child is allowing a child to be able to build an authentic relationship with you and share in their own truth. So for example, my son, he's a phenomenal tennis player. And, me and my husband are ex-pro athletes, big time athlete family. We allow him, do you want to play tennis? Is this something that aligns with you? He took 2 years off. We were like, great, take the time off. I'm like, if that's your journey, that's your journey. You have to go through that journey. Whereas in retrospect, my childhood was you play soccer and that's what you do. So I bump up against 16, 17, 18. I'm rebelling. I'm fighting. I'm frustrated. I'm crying. I'm hostile because I was told who wants to be told or forced? Nobody. So I am so about empowering an individual to believe in their own abilities. And I believe we as parents need to set that foundation and provide a roadmap for them to practice skills, habits, and responsibilities daily for them to become capable. We can't just tell a child, hey, you need to be powerful. You need to be courageous. You need to be responsible. No, they need to have skills and habits in place for them to start to embody these different life skills.
Yes, Lauren, as you're sharing all of that, it's making me think that's probably the difference or where we're going wrong when we have very unmotivated kids. As to those who are ready to go. Maybe it's really hard, but I'll try.
I was just sharing yesterday, my daughter was being interviewed and she's 13 now. My kids are 22, 20, 13, and 11. And she literally said the opening question was, how do you view your parents? And she's like, my parents are my absolute best friends, but their wealth is not my wealth. She said, I need to take the stairs and I need to fall and I need to go through challenges so that I could learn on my own. And I want to learn on my own. And it was the most mind-blowing thing for me because I'm sitting there going, the majority of 13-year-olds, or we as parents are putting band-aids over their failures, right? Or why did you do this? Or all of this. We actually want our child to make mistakes so they can learn the pivot, so they could figure out who they are, so they believe in their abilities. But the lack of motivation, I love that you brought that up, is it's it's so vital right now that we see as parents and as role models that our society is infiltrating our children. And the motivation, I mean, do you remember back in the day when we were younger, we didn't have all this, the digital, and I mean, it's overconsumption on every level.
Yes.
And you know what? Sometimes our kids get tired. And it's allowing them space to be tired and say, okay, let's create a system together. What motivates you? What inspires you daily? What do you love? And that's the intentional awareness that I believe parenting needs right now. It's not going to school and just getting good grades. It's that's a one-dimensional individual. We want to raise capable, empowered, extraordinary humans.
Right.
There's a character development aspect, right? There's, you know, a moments of where they need to go through the grit of life to sustain, you know, their own lives. And that's a big part of my system. And what I've been able to pass on to my kids is they're not afraid to go through the challenge because they know the challenge is the opportunity. But it's the way that it's being framed.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I can think back like 12 years I've been teaching, tutoring, and I realized real quick that it's not about the fractions or the long divisions that's actually the problem or even the most important thing, right? That will come back around. Really what matters is what they're thinking and saying right there in the challenge when they want to throw up their hands and not try anymore. That's the character that matters the most in that moment.
And that's it. Where's the school for character?
Yeah.
And that's why I created the Happy Life System, because you have 8 pillars of home, the mastery of your space. Body is the mastery of your health, mind, mastery of your thinking. Because, you know, one-dimensional beings is what we're seeing right now as a byproduct of our society. So it actually isn't the math problem. Right. You know, I have valedictorians that are depressed, mentally ill, you know, and the reason being is because their mindset is not anchored in self-belief, in positive thinking. Their heart set isn't anchored in compassion, empathy, love, and all those skills. To me, those are life skills that are far greater than any math test or any curriculum. As you know, the colleges in America now, you know, they're getting rid of the SAT. They're getting rid of these things. They're awakening to this, you know, new way for children to really be adaptable so that they can be, you know, holistic individuals in life. Majority of like people we know, it's like, at least for me, it's like go to school, go to work, right? Be a mom, do all of this. We're not even living at our maximum capacity. And it's really aligning our children to what their truth is and what their abilities are, and being in tune to help them get to that as a guide. I'm learning every day. And guess what? You brought up math. I don't like math. I am not good at math. Will I try it? Absolutely, I will try it. But I'm a creative person that created a media company. You know what I'm saying? Like, and my kids hear me say that, and it gives them permission to not like every single thing. So I always say you're experimenting with certain things to find your gifts and your life purpose. That's all you're doing. A lot of what my gift is and what I'm bringing to the world is I really want to take the educational aspects, which are, you know, the abilities, and couple that with the character development. I think the main thing is that crossover is what we're missing. So if we provide that roadmap and the path for a child to have living principles, to have life skills, and have the education, we have a way more holistic approach in our education.
Right. And a way more empowered young adult. Yeah.
Adult. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I created this book. It's 7 excursions in the real world. And it's literally fun, gamified practices for children to start to be in the real world and learn life skills. And those are little things that aren't really taught in school.
That's one thing that I love about my tutoring is I can tailor it to exactly what the child needs. I'm always thinking, what is it that this child needs to hear? Or a lie that needs to be broken, or something, what was spoken over them in the classroom or at home, right? That just isn't the truth. And then,
and like you providing that space allows a sense of liberation and freedom to an individual. And I feel like in parenting, it's the same thing. It's like showing up and being like, hey, we need to pivot here, or what's coming up for you, why, and then we allow space for the other human to engage with us, and that then builds trust.
Right.
And isn't that, like, as educators, as parents, as that's what we want, is we want our kids to trust us and honor us. And that old paradigm of parenting is like, my house, my rules. This is what I'm like, that's a really hard life. Sure, I have boundaries in my life, but there's in our family, but there's an honor and reciprocation for my children to know that they have a voice and they are seen and heard.
Exactly. Well, tell us more about the Happy Life system. And I'd love to know what you mean by the gamified approach to parenting.
So the Happy Life system. So I had 4 kids by the time I was 26 years old. Okay. And I shared a little bit, but I came from the old paradigm of parenting, right? So it was like soap in the mouth, spanking, grounded. And I was the rebellious kid. So I was the kid that was like, that doesn't hurt me, keep hitting me, right? Like it didn't work. I always knew as a little girl, there had to be another way to parent, to create magic in the home, to unify family, for people to work together in this teamwork aspect of life. And so fast forward, I'm 26. I have 4 kids of my own, 2 that I adopted, 2 that I had, and I'm literally on my hands and knees. And it's to this conversation is, where is the system to raise, or the manual to raise a conscious, empowered human being that's a capable individual that can go off into the world and find their life purpose and be of service to humanity. It might sound cliche, but literally in that moment, I got woken up. It was a dream. And I got up, like I was like, oh my God. And it was 200 pages of the Happy Life system, 8 different pillars. And all my pillars are, home, mastery of your space. We teach our children to do chores. So I want to inspire a new way of thinking around language. Chores means a mundane but necessary task. Mundane means finding no joy. We're perpetuating a human and motivating a human with a language that is negative. If you have to do it anyways, just go do it, right? So it was like, I'm not going to, I was told to do chores. So I was like, I need to rebirth this new language for my children to know how to engage. And so everything was an opportunity. You have the opportunity to advance yourself when you make your bed. That's where you sleep and heal your whole life. And if you're, you have the opportunity to think positively. If your mind, if you think poorly, your life, so all of these things within my system were all the pillars that little Lauren actually wanted, right? So mastery of your space, mastery of your health, mastery of your thinking, mastery of your power for courage. So when I started developing this, I created the entire new language, and then the pillars, and then over 150 skills, habits, and responsibilities that the child can choose from within each pillar, right? So like, what do you want to work on in your space? I want to make my bed every day, or I want to do the dishes, or I want to support my space this way. So I took that framework and then I moved it into a gamified platform. And so it's all about the play state. When a human's in the play state, they learn 3 times faster. So it was a hack for me to create intrinsic motivation where the children want to instead of have to. This is working. They love it. They're earning celebration points. They're leveling up. I did this whole consistency thing. When you go 30 to 60 days of this consistent habit, you level up, you 2x your points. You could lose points. And it was like, it wasn't this burden. I was having so much fun with them, because they have their foundation, which is their boards. And then in the real world, they were gamifying their life. So they were using pillars like the kindness pillar, opening doors for people, or picking up trash, or saying, please, thank you, I appreciate it. In that moment, positive reinforcement. I want to honor you with X amount of celebration points. So I made it into this experience for us as a family that created such an opportunity for all of us to master our lives in a joyful, playful state. And, I believe empowerment comes from contribution. And we cannot raise empowered children if they don't understand the essence of contribution. If you want to have that ball, you have to create a contribution in order to have that ball. If I just buy you that ball, I'm creating a faulty perception in your reality. And that was me as a child. Right? I was the kid that was like, score 3 goals and get $100. Oh my gosh, if I do this, then I get this sugar and whip.
Right.
I wanted them to contribute to their own wealth and abundance in their life. And that was the Happy Life system, the framework that we have as, what the Happy Life system is today that I'm sharing with the world.
Yeah, that's amazing. Tell us about the Crack the Parenting Code.
Okay, we talked a little bit about like the healing and our healing journey and like reinventing these new, frameworks within our lives so that we can level up our experience as role models, as a mother and
Right.
my husband as well. And so what I did is I've been on this quest for 12 years. And I was like, what are the living principles that I need every single day to keep myself strong?
Mm.
And I realized I have belief systems that are running my life. That
Yeah.
aren't my belief systems. They were a program of maybe it
Mm-hmm.
might be lack of worthiness, right? And I can't fail. If I fail, then I'm going to be this person, right? And so I started to really break down the programs and belief systems that were running my life in a way that what mask am I wearing? I'm a, people pleaser in business and I'm doing all this for what? So I've been building this for the past 12 years.
Mm.
And the idea is in Crack the Parenting Code, I talk about you can't actually show up and be step into your parenting greatness until you crack your own code as an individual. And within Crack the Parenting Code, it's all about I take you on a journey for the beliefs and the programs. I give you the toolbox of how to reshape the programs of your life and lay a foundation for yourself to learn how to love yourself so deeply, as a mother or father. Then I take
Mm-hmm.
you into my language. I talk about the paradigms that we're running in our lives with the language and the words that we're speaking. Are we casting spells on our environment and with our children and might not even know it?
Mm.
Then I take you into like my 1.0 version of the Happy Life System game and really drop you into the play state and give you the real time way of how to execute like the baseline in your life. And this is stuff that I've been working on for 12 years that I put into go at your own pace. 3 modules, I created 3 mini books for you, my gratitude journal, my digital affirmation cards, my lifestyle recipes. It's really the jumpstart of what I started with 12 years ago that cracked my code as a parent that I'm passing on to people as the first step.
Mm. Yeah, that sounds fantastic.
Awesome.
Great. Well, I will leave a link to all of those in the show notes because they're definitely
Great.
worth checking out. As we conclude, Lauren, I've enjoyed everything that you've shared. Just amazing. I'd love to know what is one thing that you wish all moms knew.
One thing I wish that all moms knew is how amazing they are. I don't really think a lot of moms love themselves so deeply to know that they are worthy. They are doing amazing. Like they've done enough. You are enough. And so if I could spread the message, it would be take a moment today to celebrate yourself
Hmm.
and honor yourself for the very being that you are. You are enough. And it's really moving out of, right, going through the clutter of our own selves to realize that just showing up every day and being your true authentic self or doing the best that you can on that day, even if that means that you don't think it's good enough, you've done enough. So I really want to inspire mothers and fathers that you're amazing just as you are and really not having to overparent or overdo it, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
Being yourself is the key and the secret to parenting.
Great. Thanks so much, Lauren, for spending time with us. I've enjoyed it
Awesome.
so much. Tell us where we can find you. I know I'm going to leave the link in the show notes, but we'd love to know where we can find you, follow you, have more of you.
Awesome. So it's Lauren Magers is my website. So Magers is Magers. And then I have my free ebook there. It's the 8 Secrets to Being a Happy Parent. And those are
Mhm.
simple little 8 habits that I started on my parenting journey, my life journey that I'm passing on to people with a little habit tracker that you could get and utilize. And then Crack the Parenting Code is also available. I'm just launching it now. So it's like I said, it's a do it yourself. So I'm super excited to be launching that. And then on Instagram and TikTok, it's the Lauren Magers. And just spreading, this insight, giving tips, sharing my perspective of what's, liberated me as a parent. My kids are now
Mhm.
22 all the way to 11 years old. So whatever wisdom I could pass on to anybody, I'm just so grateful to be of service.
There you have it, Mama. What did you like about what Lauren shared? Let us know in the comments. Lauren and I would love to hear from you. If this episode inspired you, share it with another mama you know. Be sure to check out the show notes where I left all of the links for you to find Lauren, the Happy Life System, her Crack the Parenting Code, and her free ebook, The 8 Secrets to Being a Happy Parent. A few more resources I encourage you to check out is the Sozo Journal. Sozo means wholeness, and the Sozo Journal is a beautifully written and illustrated magazine that shares the wholeness, joy, and fulfillment found in homeschooling and motherhood. The pictures, articles, interviews, and recipes are beautiful and so fun to read. You can learn more about the Sozo Journal on Instagram and Facebook at the Sozo Journal. I also encourage you to check out the Faithful Figures podcast. You'll hear inspiring tales of Christian heroes who stood firm in their faith, even in the face of adversity. My children and I were captivated by the beautiful storytelling, sound effects, and voice changes. That's the Faithful Figures podcast. Shop the Speak Life Badges sticker awards for your children at speaklifebadges.com. Encourage, motivate, and speak life, and break any lies your children are believing in a sticky, fun way. It's like Annie who said, Speak Life Badges helped me to see how praise and encouragement can not only get you better results, but also build your children up in their character. It is so easy to get into a routine of getting upset, but this helped keep me on a better track. If the Renewed Mama podcast encourages you, would you leave a review on Apple Podcasts? Your review helps the podcast to grow so that more mamas find it and can stay renewed too. Your review also helps me book more amazing guests on the show like Lauren. Thanks for taking 2 minutes right now to pause the show and leave a 5-star written review. I appreciate it so much. Tune in this Thursday for another Renew Your Health episode. We're talking about getting moving, mama, and staying faithful to exercise. Thank you for listening to the Renewed Mama podcast. I appreciate you. I care about you so much. For more resources, visit the Renewed Mama podcast, Renewed Mama Coaching, Speak Life Badges, and Austin's Kids Club.